Welcome back. From the Dunstan. As always.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Hey, there he is.
Yep, here I am.
Alrighty.
Right, what were we just doing?
For the council to start. The meeting start.
Yep. So, after everyone introduces themselves, or you get introduced to everyone, a few moments later, the door opens again, and in walk two more people. A man who appears to be in his mid-40s, wearing very expensive-looking clothes, followed by a woman dressed about the same, and she looks around the same age as well. And then shortly following them are a small platoon of guards, and the king himself. The king's wearing a dark blue tunic with a kind of crimson-colored cloak, robe thing over the top, and he has a neat black beard with long black hair tied back, and you can see hints of grey starting to break through. He's wearing a golden crown adorned with several fine gems, and a long livery collar, also made from gold. And as the king kind of walks in, the whole room kind of like stands up. As he walks over to his seat, he looks about himself and asks softly that everyone be seated. At this point, all of the council members are now sitting around the table, whilst your group and Theron are kind of sitting along the back wall with the other chairs were left out for you. And then the woman that came in with the king, she's kind of like sitting at his left-hand side, whilst the man that came in with him is on his right-hand side. And the woman kind of stands up and announces the Council of the Crown is now in session. I believe there is a specific matter that needs to be discussed. And she kind of turns towards Johann as she says this. He kind of like nods slightly and clasps onto his staff and kind of like pulls himself up. And he looks towards the king and like bows and, Your Grace and members of the council, I thank you for attending this council on such short notice. You all know me. My name is Johann, High Priest of the Court. I called the council to bring a dark secret to light. Something has been released that has been imprisoned for thousands of years. All trace of it wiped from records, with hopes to better keep it hidden. A powerful lich now, once again, walks the realm of mortal men, and to my knowledge, nothing can stop it. Save for this artifact. And he points across towards Dunstan, where the whole room now looks at him and the orb. That orb, now bound to the good Paladin Dunstan, was the prison that held that abomination at bay. We need to find a way to utilize the power within the orb and pray to the gods that we do so sooner rather than later. For when the lich regenerates to its fullest, I doubt even they can save us. And at the mention of the gods, the gnome sniggers. But no one, Johann, doesn't seem to notice. The woman who accompanied the king talks up. Johann, I mean no disrespect, but what proof do you have of this? I mean, these are very bold claims. What makes you sure that we need to focus attention on this over the ongoing war with the Horde and the pressure between the elves? Not to mention the many other issues. I mean, just yesterday we've received reports that the orcs are regrouping, preparing to push northward. And as she mentions this, you can see the king kind of frown and put his hand on his head. You can kind of sense that this is putting a lot of pressure on him, the war. And then Johan kind of turns back. I agree, the orcs are an issue, but if left alone, the Lich will become strong enough to overthrow both parties, starting with Andor. And at this point, between Johan and Theron, they both explain the whole backstory of Dalath, the whole, the 5,000 years thing, and all that stuff. It takes about 10-15 minutes for the whole explanation to go through. And he finishes by saying, so, you see why we need to stop it. And at this point, the gnome kind of sits up and shakes his head. I'm sorry, Johan. We should not be pursuing something from a fable. The crown can't supply the coin, even if we could spare it. Our resources are stretched thin as it is. And then the elder woman, the Grace, she kind of speaks forward. And what of the plague that has started appearing towards the east of Everon? Surely this is no coincidence. And at this point, the council members start bickering amongst themselves. Some of the groups talking about the various issues across the land, trade routes disrupted by bandits, the war that's ongoing, the plague that's happening. And the king kind of snaps at this, and he kind of this is absurd. My kingdom will not stand by and watch as the Orcish horde amasses an army at our very doorsteps. And everyone kind of just sits silently for a moment. Johan kind of gingerly speaks up. Your Grace, I meant no disrespect, please. The orcs are not our primary concern here. You must heed my warning. This plague that is taking grip at the east could have dire ramifications. And then the gnome kind of sputters out, nothing but a simple sickness. Leopold stands up, taking little notice to the gnome, and says, let's put this into perspective. Say the Lich is out there somewhere, and say the plague does pose a threat. What would you have us do? Johan, well, Theron has already dispatched a contingent of men to assess the plague and possibly set up a quarantine. But ultimately, if I'm honest, we need the elves. The room, at this point, again erupts into conflicting discussions. The elves, they bear no love for the kingdom of Andor. High Moon is but a joke. They will never support us. And all this kind of stuff.
I'd just like to interject. We were in High Moon fairly recently, council members, and the council of elders there have recently taken steps to reconnect with the human portion of the settlement. They're re-establishing ties, strengthening the guard, and seeing to restitution of the poorer areas.
The human male next to the king kind of looks across to you and just says, I don't think it will last. Elves are very fickle beings.
Well, if you seek to contact the elves to make some form of counsel or bargain with them, that would seem to be the place to start.
You can see that the commander of the guard and the wizard and the priest are kind of agreeing with this and kind of nodding slightly, whereas the gnome and the other two are just kind of arguing and disagreeing with you.
Okay.
Where was I? So they're kind of arguing, and Johan's still trying to push his point, like trying to persuade everyone to kind of take heed to his warning and try and rally them to get allies as best he can. And the woman sitting next to the king, she's consistently talking about the Yorkish war. She's like, we must focus attention on this. This is so important to the crown. We need to fight back the orcs. We need to crush the army as quickly as we can. And it gets to a point where the king just looks completely aggravated and annoyed at this and just stands up and he shouts, enough! And he turns to Johan. I will not spare any men or women to search for your lich. The people of these lands are suffering enough from the horde, and I need to focus all attention there. Now, if you will excuse me, I'll take my leave. And he kind of gets up and starts walking towards the door. And as he does so, the right and left hand people, they both stand up, follow suit, and the gnome follows him as well. And he kind of just bursts through the door and he leaves.
Well, Theron, that seemed somewhat pointless.
And you can see Theron just kind of
your king seems
disheartened.
pretty short-sighted, or perhaps too focused on other issues.
Yes, he is definitely focused on another issue. Where's he gone? So Leopold stands up and walks over towards your party. And he turns to you and says, gentlemen, I am very sorry that the council could not come together with a consensus on this matter. Unfortunately, the war with the orcs is a very sensitive subject to the king, but he's quite stubborn on the matter. And I feel that Amelia and Morgan know this and use it to cloud the king's judgment. For what it's worth, I will back you should the time come. But if you want the crown to stand with you, you will need hard evidence. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must return to my post. And Leopold turns and starts walking towards the door.
What, Theron, what is the possibility that we could assist with things with the Horde? The war with the orcs? Is that something we could assist with to try to bring to a close? Perhaps we could come to some sort of arrangement if we could go down and meet the leader of the orcs and find some middle ground.
Or kill him.
I know that the orcs are violent people, but they're not supremacists. They don't want to. There must be some grievance that we could come to some sort of understanding.
Theron kind of. Sorry, there's a mosquito flying around. Theron kind
acceptable.
of. Not really. He's kind of scratching his chin and thinks, I'm pretty sure that the leader of the Horde would never parley with humans. He would never parley anyway. He's an overly aggressive creature, born of war. All he knows is fighting and bloodshed. There's actually very little we know about him other than that.
I think that it might be worth trying to bring some sort of discourse. Perhaps they feel like their lands have been encroached upon, or
Are
Are
you suggesting that we go south and stop a war?
Yes, potentially.
Do you feel we're fully equipped to do that, Dunstan? Mabrin says, leaning back and shaking his head.
Yes, I all we need is logic and reason, and the willingness to try to bring discourse to a war. That violence only breeds more violence, We
I love that it's
We-
Dunstan. So it's,
yeah, so I think that perhaps it's an option. Is all I'm saying. If it's reckless and it would take too much time, perhaps we should abandon the idea. But it could, if we could bring the war to a close, it maybe would sway King Aldrim's hand
I
to
think maybe
assist us more.
that is one route we could go down. But it didn't seem that the king himself was particularly interested in parleying. You saw the council's attitude to speaking to the elves, a race that we're not at war with. They don't seem quite as open-minded as you, my friend.
Maybe my my good nature's clouding my judgment.
That would seem likely. It usually does.
What do you think, Flynn? Do you think we should try to go south towards the orcs, or try to maybe get some evidence to sway the king?
We could go south.
What?
The problem with the orcs, but I don't think there'll be any convincing or parleying with them.
Theron, the king said he would not make any sort of investigations into the Lich without proof of his awakening. But if he will not accept the remnants of the magical prison that contained him as proof, what proof could he possibly want? Theron.
Oh, sorry.
Theron. This
I'm sorry. I am so sorry, but
Did you drift off for a second, Theron?
I'm afraid I did.
We're still in the King's Council.
Yes, I know all too well. I'm sorry. What was your question?
If the king won't accept the shell of Gandariel's prison as proof that the Lich is awakened, what could he accept? If we were to go south, we could look to parley with the orcs, or perhaps kill all of them. Something. But he has asked for proof of the Lich being awakened before we investigate. But what proof could we possibly bring him?
That is a very good question. I fear that it's the problem is twofold. I think the first issue is the pressure with the Orcish armies, along with the king's eldest son dying during the Orcish fights. That is clouding his judgment on the issue, along with the fact that the other council members seem to be playing this to their advantage. I'm not sure why or how or for what purpose, but when any talk about other issues arise, they always bring it back to the Orcish war, and the king always gets very agitated about this. I know he's supposed to be the front face of the city, but after all, as you said, he bleeds like any other man. He is still human. So those are the two issues that I foresee with the whole convincing him. I think what possibly could happen is once, as terrible as it sounds, once the Lich actually starts forcing his way through the land, it might be too late to take notice, but then at least you have hard proof.
So just so that we're on the same page, Theron, because I know that sometimes your plans are... You're a very intelligent man, and sometimes your plans are beyond my understanding. You are suggesting that the proof we could bring before the king is when his lands are ravaged by undead?
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I fear that will be what it takes. I'm sure there are other avenues to go down, other routes to chase, but I fear these are the issues.
Okay. What if we left this continent? It seems likely to fall with the orcs and the undead. We have boats.
Well, you know that the orcs are fighting on two fronts.
Oh, that's right. They're fighting on the south as well, aren't they?
Yes.
Hmm.
They are pushing up to the north, and they are pushing down into the south. You know that they came from the Sundered Isle. That's like where they originally came from. Like, if you want to call it like a homeland, that would be the homeland.
Do we know why they started to fight? Because this was
no idea.
relatively recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, over the past probably 10 years, like around that kind of time period. It's a very it began shortly, and originally they invaded the south first, and at the time the south was like, yeah, we got this, we don't need your back. And then they kind of like pushed northward and started taking all of the mines and such towards the south of the North Continent, and now they're becoming a real issue ever since the new war chief kind of took over the horde.
Where on the map is the Sundered Isle?
It's the island just north of the southern continent. It's just north of East Hollow, kind of north of Dalmel Crater.
I never see anything you guys are talking about.
Is it because
Never.
it's on the main page of the wiki?
Yep, that's what I'm
You've
looking
got
at.
the faction map, the one that's all red and yellow.
Yep, I've got it.
And
Yep,
there is an island. You've got see the red section.
yep.
The island offshore of the west red section.
Like
The
there
eastern
are
red
two
section.
capital cities there called Crone and Anoris.
There's no. You said it was north of some place, which is not on my map.
Look in the red section.
I'm looking in the red section.
Like up
And
where
there's
Dalmel
Red
is,
Crag,
go
Thorn,
north
Crone,
of
and
Dalmel.
Anoris.
Yep, I see all of those.
It's Crone and Anoris. It's that island.
That island, yeah.
The island that's
Okay.
the only island.
Yeah, I see the island.
You can tell it's an island because it's separated from all the other bodies of land around it by water.
Yes. I can see the island. I asked which island, and Mark said it was north of a place, which is not on this map.
No, that is the island. That island. It's called the
Yeah, that's
Sundered
fine.
Isle,
Okay.
and it's not on the political map. I removed a bunch of names off the political map, but it's on the normal map.
Yeah, it's just like straight shot north from Dalmel.
So the red is the orcs territory. Is that right?
Yeah. To the date that you started playing, that's the land that they had captured.
See, on the date we started playing, this was the land that they'd captured, or since we started playing.
No, the day you started, that's where they were.
So they could be somewhere else now. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, they could be.
Okay.
They probably pushed more north towards High Wall by now.
Probably.
Like, when the war started, they took a lot of land. They grabbed a lot of land really fast onto the southern continent, and then they kind of stagnated. And then when the new war chief took over, they started rapidly expanding.
Okay, so Dunstan, you you think we should go south and parley with the orcs and talk them out of their massive expansionistic war?
Well, potentially.
And
Or,
Theron thinks we should
or
wait until undead walk the streets of Andor and then get the king to give us a few soldiers.
Or find the elves.
Or we go and speak to a xenophobic race of magic users who have cut themselves off from the rest of the world.
yes, I vote that we go to the elves and ask them for assistance in a plan to ally with us to push the orcs off this continent and set up a defensive barrier south of Red Crag.
I agree that we should contact the elves. We at least have a contact in the elves,
Yes.
who we have a way of getting hold of easily. Although I've forgotten her name, I do have it written down. Yeah, we do. Kedre of the elves. So she recently went back to Envalon. So we do have a way of reaching somebody within the elves. I don't know how much luck we will have stopping this orcish war if we don't know why it started.
So maybe we talk to King Aldrin about that? Or, well, Theron, you must have some more information about how the war started?
Actually, we're not entirely sure on that. That possibility, the eventuality.
Sorry.
See,
Sorry, Theron.
the war. Some
Throat troubles me
speculate.
so.
Mine too. I'm all too familiar with it. Some people speculate that the war began when the war chief just decided he had enough of living on a desolate island and felt that the world should be his and he should own the world, and then started rapidly expanding.
But who hasn't felt that way?
Indeed. Not me, but some.
Me?
Dunstan, you're so funny.
Others speculate that there is something much more sinister afoot. I myself, I've heard stories of the new war chief rising to power by acquiring a specific artifact that he's using to expand. I feel they might be influenced by an outside source. That is entirely possible.
You mentioned an artifact, Theron. What sort of artifact could this be? If you've heard,
Could be anything. It could be some kind of magical artifact that enhances their powers. It could be a magical weapon. It could be a gift from one of their own deities. It could be any number of things. But I personally feel that is what is happening here. The orcs are being used as a tool.
Theron, how long ago was it that you first found out about the faction within the Brotherhood of the Shield who was working with the Lich Darlath?
Probably around a year or so at this point. I think it's a fairly new thing. It's kind of why the Order are not generally suspicious of one another, because it's not something that has happened in ever. It's a very recent thing.
As far as you know.
As far as I'm
aware. Maybe we should investigate the orcs.
I think so. I'd like to try to speak to Leopold.
That has fallen into their hands by some trickery, if they're being guided by another hand. It may be the same force which guided you, Dunstan, to unleash Darlath upon the earth.
I did not do that intentionally.
No, but don't worry, we will put an end to your incompetence.
My accident.
Your action
Yeah, I think
of irredeemable evil.
no. Any evil requires intent. Any evil.
Really?
Any evil.
Oh, really?
Even killing by accident is not evil.
What if I kill a lot of people by accident?
Not evil.
What if I destroy the world by accident?
It's not evil.
I kill billions.
Yes, it's not evil.
What if I accidentally punch a child in the face?
Then it's not evil.
What if I accidentally hold a child's head underwater while it's screaming and thrashing and I think he's just mucking about and having fun? I think it's fun, we're all having fun, and then I'm holding the dead body of a drowned
There's
orphan.
no
Not evil.
action which is objectively evil in every circumstance. Every action requires intent. Like every evil action requires intent.
It's good to hear you say that, my friend.
If it's accidental, there could be dire consequences, but it's not necessarily evil. And negligence can be a grey area. You know, whether you're not taking appropriate steps to prevent other people's harm. You know, is a grey area. Mine's far more developed than mine tussle with this. But I do deal more in intent. If you don't mean to do it, then it's not evil.
For future reference, my friend, I didn't mean to do it. Anyway.
It's a good job that I know that you're jesting, so that's okay. Yeah, so my plan at the moment would be to ultimately try to get south and see if we can push the orcs back off the continent with gathering as much support as possible. And I see the best opportunities for that being being in Leopold and the elves. What do you guys think about that?
Yes, that's probably a good avenue to go down. What help do you think the elves will be able to provide?
Maybe some troops, as they're not fighting currently. Whereas Andor is already fighting.
I think we have to bear in mind we were just recently in High Moon and they did not provide any troops and they are on the forefront of the invasion. My fear is that the elves will, if they're presented with the case that the orcs are overrunning the continent, they will simply retreat back to their islands. It's worth a try, but I think we will meet some resistance.
I definitely agree. Will not be
providing forces at the least.
I think we should at least try. Maybe just send a message. Is it Theron? Do you know of any other factions nearby? Maybe that we could maybe call on for alliance. Not necessarily races, but if there's any other towns or large cities close by on the continent that care about living.
Well, the next biggest city would be Kalyan. That is like almost equal in stature to Andor. If you want to look for just general allies and help, you could see the Wolf Guard. They are a band of almost mercenaries that kind of try their best to help out across the lands. But they have their own rank system, so it might be difficult to gain their trust. They kind of like operate outside the law. They're almost like a vigilante group.
Do you have any other information about them? Anything they've done in the past, or are they? Do they? You say vigilantes. Are they vigilantes? For good. Do they kill bandits? Do they hunt?
Yes, they are. In essence, a group of adventurers who kind of group together under one roof, and they kind of just help out wherever they can usually for the right amount of coin. It's like almost like a guild of protectors. That's how some people view them. Others just think they're mercenaries. But they usually serve justice towards people who receive little help from the crown.
They do sound like my type of people. I would be very very excited to meet them and to talk with them. Do you happen to know where I might find them?
They live in the Arestier Keep. It is east of Duvale. It's into the mountain range, almost. You could follow the King's Road for best part of a month and reach there, perhaps. No, not a month. Probably like 2 weeks. No, maybe a month. Let me figure it out. I'll figure out in terms of time. It's probably like 3. Yeah, just under 2 weeks. It'll take about just under 2 weeks to travel there from Andor. That is on horseback.
Can you give me? Do you have any more information about the fighting that's currently going on in the south? So we know that the King's men are down there, and some troops from High Moon, is that right? That are down there fighting together.
Yes, but the troops from High Moon are very few in between. Like, not many come there. Most of the forces comes from the Crown of Andor.
The troops from High Moon following orders from Andor, or vice versa, or neither?
Neither. Like, the faction that is fighting towards the south right now is like an independent thing. It's not really a faction. It's just like, think of the wall in Game of Thrones, that kind of setup, but they're not like taking just random like rapists and prisoners and stuff. Like, it's more of like an honor to go there and fight for the country of Everon.
Okay, so there is one person down there that's leading the entire force, both the troops from High Moon and Andor.
Yeah, they kind of like rally under one banner.
Okay. You know the person that's leading the force down there?
I do not, I'm afraid. But I do know that people from all around go there. Even dwarves are known to be there.
Good to know.
Even the barbarians from the north, from Coldridge, go there.
I would know though, wouldn't I? I've thought that.
Actually, you might know. Give me a knowledge. Just a flat knowledge, anything check.
Local.
Yeah, local, that's the one.
No, check knowledge anything.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Not only do you know him, you fought alongside him in battle once. You remember him for his like fearlessness. His name is Ulfgar Windcaller.
Right,
And he's the one that leads the whole thing down on High Wall.
Yeah.
Ulf, spell that for me.
That's Ulfgar.
Ulfgar, what?
Windcaller.
Windcaller. Okay.
Yeah.
And he leads the forces at High Wall, yeah?
Yep. He is in fact from Coldridge. Like, he came from the north, seeking like honor, battle, that kind of general thing, and he like quickly became a leader, and he's been there for like the past 30 years leading. But as you guys are having this discussion, the older woman kind of gets up and turns to Johan, who is kind of like stood near you, just listening in. And she kind of asks, Johan, what is your next step? What will you do now? And Johan just shakes his head. I'm not sure. Well, for one thing certain, we need allies. For when the battle comes, we need as many allies as we can. It's going to be a long and gruesome battle, which the likes we have never seen.
But
And
again,
I'm certain we need the elves. We need to figure out how that orb works.
Right. But to be clear, again, the Kingdom of Andor will not investigate this at all.
As of
in
yet,
any official capacity.
As of yet, it does not look so. I will do my best to convince the council otherwise. And he kind of turns to your party and Theron and asks, I can only ask your help. I can only ask if you can rally an army, rally anyone, find allies. We will need everyone.
Oh, we can probably do that. We're very persuasive. However, you obviously cannot provide us with any men to assist us or anything like that. But we cannot travel the breadth of the world without funds.
Oh, Mabron. Oh, Mabron.
Or magic weapons.
At the least, we will be needing to travel on boat across each of the continents. Perhaps if we are lucky in our parley with the elves, we may even travel to Elf Home itself. That's not what it's called. Envalon? Elvalon? Elflon.
It's like
Elflond.
envelope.
Envalon. And our funds, we cannot afford to help you. On our limited funds, we're simple people. We're simple farmers. Few resources of our own. Only what meager scraps we have been able to pull together ourselves.
Theron looks at you and says, "We are stretched thin our own. We have very little.
I understand.
There's not much I can help you with."
But
and
when you say that you are stretched thin, you mean you are stretched thin in the terms of people who run a kingdom, and we are stretched thin in terms of people who cannot afford an inn to stay in tonight.
You misunderstand. I have nothing to do with the kingdom. I am part of an order that funds itself.
Of course, but Johann is the high priest. He's the chosen representative of the temples. He sees the need for this to take place. I'm sure Grace is still here, isn't she?
Yes.
I'm sure the Lady Grace herself sees the necessity to investigate these things, and no disrespect, my lady, but wizards can quite literally conjure gold out of thin air.
And that would ruin the economy, my friend.
We are happy to assist. I'm sure Dunstan is raring, chomping at the bit to set off south, raise an army of elves, and defeat the Orcish horde. But
I am.
We, at the moment, cannot afford the boat ride. We cannot afford the horses. That's why Dunstan has to chomp at the bit himself.
I think that we need to concentrate on allies, and I think we have enough funds to just be able to travel around and talk to people to
My friend,
gain allies for now.
This is patently untrue.
Theron kind of goes towards saying, we don't have anything to give you. And Johann kind of calls him over. And they have a little bit of a private discussion. And Johann kind of offers you each a signet ring. And on the ring is the emblem of the order. And he gives each of you one of these rings and says, wherever you go, if you see a building with this sigil on, if you show them the ring, they will provide you food, place to stay, and they might even be able to provide horses if they have any. This is all we can do for now.
Oh,
that's much more than we expected. Thank you very much, Theron. But
Well, it's much
very,
more
very
than some of
grateful.
us expected. Thank you. This will certainly help us in our travels.
I think for now we. So is the plan that we're going to head east to try and find the Wolf Guard? Is that right?
We need to make a decision, don't we? So we.
I don't think going to High Moon's going to help. I think we need to send a message, let them know what we're doing.
But the problem that we have is that our messaging is only one way at the moment. Like we can send a message to Keydre and that's it. And if we're
okay,
out
though.
in the middle of nowhere, she will have no way of getting in contact with us again.
Is she in Envalon or is she in High Moon?
No, she went back to Envalon.
Okay, that's still fine. She can get a message to High Moon anyway. All we need to do is send her a message, let her know like where to send the troops.
She's not gonna
And
send any troops.
I know, but we need to like say that we're gathering. Basically, yeah, just send a really inspirational message. Yeah, and hope for the best.
Can we? Did you ever look at how we could, whether these letters were craftable, whether we can make ones that would be able to reach us, or whether we could purchase some that could reach us?
You could purchase them, but you still have to give them to people.
So we couldn't like attach one to the note that we were sending to her.
No.
Okay, but we could leave some. We could get some and then like leave them here. Leave a couple here with Theron.
Good.
Like if he needed to reach us, or if word came from anybody else, they could contact him, and then he could contact us. Okay. So you said you wanted to go to where was it, Dunstan? To look for the Wolf Guard down near Callian.
It's in the mountain. Yeah, it's in the mountains east of Dugard. Yes, that's what I would like to do. I'd like to arrange to send a message to the elves and then head east.
Okay, before you do this, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Let me generate some Wolf Guard. I just made it up.
No, it's
After 3 days travel,
wiki.
you're there. You meet Ulfgar, Wolfgar, and Bulfgar.
No. The Wolf Guard has been on the wiki for like the past 2 weeks.
I know. I've read that thing. No one else, of course, on the wiki. It's just you and me.
No, I think so.
Passing.
It's an exclusive group.
Just passing lore messages back and forth.
Exactly. Okay, first things first. Dunstan.
Yes. Give me a saving throw. You explode.
No. Mabrin
The
and
orb
Flynn.
attaches to Mabrin. Mabrin pledges allegiance to Darlath.
Fuck. That would be the worst thing, right? Turn into the most evil party ever.
No, there is no evil if there's no intent. It's just an accident.
That's not an accident, that's fully intention.
I got tricked into thinking that Darlath was a good guy by my constant suspicion of all the good guys.
Ah, clearly.
These things just happen.
Okay, so Flynn and Mabrin, give me a perception check.
Boom! 9.
Okay.
10! Yeah!
You don't notice anything.
High five, perceived, bro.
Guys, something's happening to me. Come on.
What's happening to you, Dunstan? Things are happening to me now.
Dunstan, I'm gonna private message you this.
Oh, shit.
You get an erection.
I never have this shit. Get an erection. Oh. Okay.
You can yeah. You can.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to do it by a private message to you, wouldn't I?
Yes.
I don't trust Dunstan anymore. Flynn, I think Dunstan might be evil.
So as this happens, you lock eyes with Grace momentarily, and once you acknowledge this, she kind of turns to the group and says aloud, "You need to find the ancient elves."
What are the ancient elves, my lady?
These are the elves that lived long, long ago and followed the druidic ways, the ways of nature. And somewhere along the line, no one really knows where, when, or why, the elves split into two factions. They remained on the hidden continent, and the other elves ventured forth to the elves that we know today. In doing so, the elves that left lost their immortality, whereas the ancient elves are known to essentially, if they don't die in battle or anything else, will live forever. They are, for all intents and purposes, immortal. I believe these can help you.
I also live forever if I don't die from anything else.
No, what I meant is they don't age. Fucking dick.
No, I got you.
Smooth.
Okay. My lady, this is the first anybody has ever mentioned of these elves to us. Why do you say we need to seek them out? You think perhaps they were around when Darlath was imprisoned?
They most certainly were, and they most certainly know about the deity of which you speak of. They would know all about this. For the records of man, dwarf, everything, they only go back so far. They don't remember. Whereas these, they lived it, they witnessed it, they will remember.
But surely, my lady, if they this woman Grace, she's head of the mages. Is that right?
No,
She's
she is the high mage of Andor, so she's probably like the representative of the mages within the kingdom.
Okay. So does she know like the ins and outs of things that have been going on within the Theramore Institute, or is that completely separate from?
The Taramore Institute is a completely separate institute. It's like the institute itself was set up between human and elf as like a kind of goodwill kind of thing to try and improve relations.
Right. Okay.
And that kind of thing. It's like the most prestigious magic related anything within the whole of the kingdom.
Okay.
Or most of the world outside of the elven place. But no, she's not part of that at all.
Right. Okay. Well, my lady, surely we do have contact with the elves through High Moon, through the Terramore Institute. Although relations may be sour, the kingdom itself, the kingdom of Andor, must have some way of contacting the elves. Why would?
No.
Why would they?
They're a different group. They live somewhere else. I do not know where. I do not know how you would even find them. But I found a text many years ago pertaining to an ancient group of elves. At first, I thought they were just talking about the elves, but No, it's a completely different entity.
I'm sorry, Mallory, I misunderstood. Did you say that they? Did you not say that there were two factions and the ancient elves stayed on Envalon?
No, they stayed
No.
somewhere else.
Right, I see. Um, okay. But the text which mentioned the elves, did it mention where they lived, or at least the continent?
I hear. I've translated as best I can. It's a very old dialect of Elven. Something along the name of Dranore.
And do you have
That
any?
would be an island, a country. I'm not sure, but this is a place where they live.
Dranore.
And they speak of an ancient form of worship, deity. I'm not sure, maybe a religion, but it said that the elves worship the sun and the moon, and they believed them to be the original creators of life and magic. The name for the sun was Solera, and the name for the moon was Lunea. They believed them to be twins.
Okay.
Samaya,
Solera and Lunea.
Solera.
Okay. Do you have any ideas where we could even begin such a search for an ancient lost people?
I would have no idea. But what I can suggest is, if you leave it with me, now that I actually have made this connection, I could probably do some research on your behalf.
Okay. Okay, so then it seems we must make a decision, Dunstan, about how to proceed, and Flynn as well. I would value. I think we all need some input on this, to decide our next steps. It seems to me that we could head south to Highwall. We could head east to find the Wolfguard. We could contact the elves. We could try to speak to any contacts we have in not Highwall, in High Moon, to find more information about these ancient elves.
Yes, I think
suspect
that
maybe while the Lady Grace is researching the ancient elves, we should stay somewhat nearby Andor and look to the Wolfguard.
yes, that was my suggestion. I think that we
Yeah.
should send word to High Moon, just to Cedray to let her know what we're going to do, and then head east to find the Wolfguard. Because at the same time, we can go through the woods again, try to find the magical artifact that was lost.
Okay. That sounds sounds like a plan to me. So we will head out into the woods, deal with the bandits, find this possible magical artifact, and then carry on eastwards towards to try and locate the Wolfguard.
Yes. So I think that we probably make a stop off at what was the place called?
Not Fishville again.
Duvale. Yes, Fishtown again.
No, I don't want any more smoked fish, Dunstan. Please.
Some delicious, delicious smoked fish from the town of Freyport.
Yes.
I'm not going back to Fishport.
Yes, you are.
The whole place smelled of fish, and that girl did not. Oh, it was not good, Dunstan. It was not a good experience for me at all. I don't want to go. Okay.
But speaking out of time, Like theoretically, you can go anywhere now.
Yes. I want to go find the wolf god.
Look, just because they are a fucking brotherhood of warriors who fight
It's just my vote. You guys
with
get to vote
wolves,
your own ways
and
as well.
their name is the Wolf Guard, and you fight with wolves. Like, ugh.
I just the idea of someone carrying out justice when they think the law doesn't cover it, it just resonates with me. Yeah, that my vote is to do that, but I'm happy to be overruled if you guys would prefer to go somewhere else.
What do we think the Wolf Guard will be able to provide us with?
Perhaps troops and strategies. Any faction that we can ally with will be a great benefit.
Yeah, this is true. Okay, well, I think it was wise to remain near Andor, especially as our lines of communication are limited. We have a reasonable base, somewhat established in the city, and we have a place here where people can contact us. So
Okay, let's do that. We head back to the tavern now. It's probably quite late by now. We've been talking for ages.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably at this point like 6 in the afternoon, 7 in the afternoon.
okay,
And it'll probably take you a good half an hour or so to get back as well.
yeah, that's cool. I don't think there's anything specific we want to do on the way back, really. Before we leave, though, can I ask Theron about the possibility of getting us extended, possibly permanent passes to access the Noble Ring?
Certainly, I could go and speak to Leopold about it. That's how I got them the last time.
Okay. I feel it would be useful, as otherwise we will be out of the city for weeks, perhaps months at a time. Otherwise, we will need to go through unnecessary paperwork repeatedly every time we come back to the city.
Yes, I foresee that being an issue as well. We can go see him. We'll go through the guardhouse on the way out anyway.
Splendid.
Is there anything else you guys wish to do?
No, I'm just making a note of the. It was a signet ring that they gave us, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a small golden ring, and on the top is like a little like flat disc shape with the sigil like imprinted on it in black.
Brotherhood signet ring. There we go. Cool.
All right then. So you guys make your way out through whence you came. You kind of go down past through the Noble District, through the fountain kind of area, and you kind of go towards the guardhouse where Leopold is. You kind of go into his office where you can see him like sitting, writing out some paperwork. He looks up, like, oh, what a surprise! How can I help you, gentlemen?
Leopold, it's a pleasure to see you again. We were just discussing our next actions in the search for more resources against both the Orcish threat and the threat from the Lish, and we've decided on our next course of action. However, because we will be gone from the city for some time, we would seek to gain some form of papers or identification that would allow us permanent access within the Noble Ring.
We unfortunately don't give out permanent access permits. People have to update them every so often. However, I can give you a 6-month one, which is the longest one we have. And this time I'll give it you free of charge.
Oh, that's most generous of you, seeing as we are
It's fairly
attempting to stop
cheap.
the overrun of the city from both orcs and undead.
As I said,
You're too kind.
it's only 5 gold per 6 months either way. So it's not exactly an expensive thing.
Okay, but we'll take them for free this time anyway. Thank you.
Of course. He kind of pulls out some it's not paper, it's more like a kind of cloth material, and he kind of like writes out the information that it required on it, and he requires like a thumbprint in blood on them. And I assume you all oblige.
Yes, yeah, unless either of the
Yes,
other
of
guys want to
course.
kick off first.
Yeah.
For information, Leopold, what do people do if they're residents within the noble quarter? If they own property, do they still require passes to access?
They do, but if they own property here, they are given free.
Okay.
Because obviously paying rent in this side of the city is fairly expensive.
Good to know. Yep, no, that's cool. And then on the way back, I'd just like to visit the bank and drop off cash. You guys didn't want to do. Did you guys want to do rather any shopping or anything before we go?
Fine, thanks.
No, I'm good.
Cool. In that case, I will put 900 gold in the account.
Sweet.
And then we can head back to the inn. Oops.
No. Can I go to? I should have. I want to go into the blacksmith. I want to see if I can sell these bows.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. While we're dealing with cash, we should probably sort out all of this junk that you're carrying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to roleplay it, or do you just want to...
I'm happy to just sell it.
Yeah, okay. I'll just save for now. Just sell it as normal price.
Okay. So let's just quickly add it up. Character sheet.
Actually, there is something I'd like to try and buy, Mark. Something specific that I was looking for.
Yep.
I don't know where I would go about looking for it. It is a magical item, but it is quite a cheap magical item.
So magic water is your best bet?
Okie dokie. Well, should I wait for... Oh, actually, while James...
No.
Okay. So I wanted to look for a pair of sleeves of many garments.
Sleeves of many garments?
Which are magical sleeves that you wear on your arms, and at any point you can choose to change the appearance of your clothes.
Okay.
Okay, so I've added this up. It's 570 gold for the composite bows, the flail, the masterwork shield, and the ratfolk tail blade.
Cool.
That's how much it says in PC Gen. Does that sound okay? Do you want to knock it a little bit off?
No, that sounds fine.
Okay, so that's 570 gold. I'll just get rid of all those.
Okay, I've got track of that, so I'll put it in the bank.
Okay.
Give me perception roll, Bryn. Yeah, you spend a good 15-20 minutes looking in and out through some of the magic shops in the district, and you do come across one that sells the item.
Okay, how much?
But I can't seem to find it on PC Gen.
Oh, really? I haven't actually looked for them on PC Gen. Yeah,
it might not be in this thing.
They're not showing up in my PC Gen either. I can find them in the... Hey, love. I can find them on...
Yeah, I can see them on the thing as well. It's just weird that it's not on PC Gen. We can just record it out of PC Gen, though.
Okay. How much are they asking for them?
They are currently asking for 120 gold pieces.
120 gold pieces. Let's see. What's the skill to haggle? it's not haggle, is it? It's like
No, it's you trying to haggle with the diplomacy rolls.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
I will try to haggle with my diplomacy skills.
Okay.
These sleeves are a bit tattered. I think 120 gold is. I mean, to be fair, I could buy just 7 new sets of clothes for significantly less. I could stay. I know for a fact, in fact, that I could rent 6 rooms at a respectable inn for a week for roughly the cost of these braces. Do you not feel that's a little much?
roll diplomacy.
This is where I fucking natural one, isn't it? Oh, that's all right.
The woman behind the counter is like, yeah, sir, but the whole point in having these braces is purely so you don't have to carry 7 pairs of clothes around with you. And at the same time, I'm not sure I see the relevance with owning 6 rooms versus this sleeve for a week. I'm not sure, but I don't see the relation here. And I assure you, they are very, very, very clean. And as she's like inspecting it, she's a little bit worried now, so she kind of like pressure digitates it a little. See, good as new.
My lady, it's not their cleanliness. They seem tattered. They seem almost as though they're second-hand. Looking at these, I would not suspect they were recently made. They're perhaps an old heirloom passed down through family members, faded, worn. Probably they can only do clothes in shades of brown now.
Give me another diplomacy.
And you're so beautiful.
With advantage.
Fuck. I give her the 120 gold.
She's like,
shit.
okay, they might appear to be a little tatty, but fine. 215 gold.
My lady, I will give you the original 120 gold and no more.
Okay, very well. I'll take that. Thank you very much. And she
Pleasure doing business with you fiend.
she takes your money and asks, "Would you like them gift wrapped?"
Thank you, but no. I'll wear them out, and I slip them on, and change my clothes into like nobleman's attire, and then walk out.
Cool.
So that was 120 minus, and then so 1400 into party accounts. Sweet. Cool.
Smooth. Okay, so you find your way back to the Four Shields, where Miles has 3 flagons of ale standing for you. 2 of them fresh for Dunstan and Flynn. 1 of them about 3 hours old for Mabel.
Thank you,
You can
my
see
friends.
that the froth is completely gone and it's quite flat now.
Just
and he
how
says-
I like it.
I know you like it this way, sir.
You are an excellent innkeeper.
He smiles
To
and
remember
nods
my
and then gives you a
favourite
cheeky
drink
wink.
after only 1 quaffing.
He smiles and gives you a wink.
How's the business been tonight, Miles?
You can tell it's quite lively, and you can see that there's probably about 15 to 20 patrons in here, and you can even see Rollo in the corner doing some card tricks.
Has there been any trouble tonight, or is it quite quiet?
Oh no, it's been lively, but no trouble. But
Good.
you know, the night is still young.
Well, let me know if you need any assistance.
Of course, my friend, of course. You're a paladin, right? Yeah,
course,
I
I
remember,
am.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, enjoy your stay, friend paladin.
I will. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll drink my beer.
I don't drink my beer. I just leave it.
Fucking mosquitoes, man. All right, so my question is, do you guys want to call it here? Because I know you have to do stuff tomorrow.
We can do, yeah.
It's up to you. I know you guys will have to be up early tomorrow, so
Yeah. It
I
might
was
be
going to
easier
ask
to do
earlier
that,
what
yeah.
time you wanted to stop tonight's session anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go much further anyway, so I just wanted to start trying to teach Echo something.
If only you
I
had
wouldn't
more
have had
time.
much time.
Well,
I just want to make sure I remember.
You've been training them on whatever it is you're going to be training in now for the past 4 days because you've had a voyage up again. So it's not quite enough, right? It has to be every week.
Yeah. No, so I know I wouldn't be able to roll to teach him it now. I'm just saying I wanted to make sure that I was doing that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
What are you trying to teach him?
Trying to teach him
Savage
to track. So it's part of the survival skill. You can track with your scent. You can
Can you
track
teach him
people.
actual skills?
Yeah, he's got skills. So he's got survival
Teach him
skills. He's got
profession barrister.
Yes. Actually, I probably can't. I'll check now. I don't think I can.
A wolf who's a barrister.
Yeah. Or Ray. We could teach Ray profession barrister. And he could
Wow, he's got
do our legal documents for us while we're adventuring.
He's got 4 skill in all of them. But obviously then none of them are usable untrained, but he does have 4 skill in every profession. That's way more than me.
No, we said they're usable untrained now, right?
Apparently, so maybe we can do it.
It's official. That's an official rule.
Not everything.
I cannot find any sleeve item. There are wrist slot item, but I don't know what else. Braces, right? Braces are a wrist slot item.
Yeah.
So I'll put them in as a pair of custom braces.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that I don't screw up any of the the item slots. Braces, add custom.
Did you guys add your ring as a custom ring?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Oh, don't think I'm gonna get enough XP to level up now. It's depressing. Never mind.
You leveled up.
Yeah, this one was another pretty story-driven one. But theoretically, from this point on, it's primarily you adventuring again.
I don't think we did. Not last week, last time. Pretty sure we didn't fight anything.
Yeah, you didn't fight anything last week. I think you did the week before.
Yeah, we were in the woods with Julian
That's
and
right.
we fought the bandits.
Yeah. But theoretically now, from this point, it's primarily you in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I just want to beat things up.
Well, we would if this was a longer session. If we'd gone on to our normal
Yeah.
we would have got to that.
Yeah. You probably would have went through, had a fight, made it through. But I would say you guys did enough to earn about 2,000 experience each.
Okay. Okay or not 2K?
That is the question.
Awesome. Coolio. So next time we'll be back on a Friday. Is that?
Yeah. As far as I'm aware.
That'll be the 24th. Won't it?
I don't know. It's on my calendar. So it's supposed to be tomorrow. Boom, boom. Yeah, next one's 24th.
And we should be good for that, no problem.
Get down to some killing.
Yeah.
I specifically, because our party's like slightly smaller now, and I'm the only caster, I did take a combat spell in the end on the level up.
Okay,
Just so that you guys
probably a
know,
good call.
I can now cast a flaming sphere,
Cool.
which seems broken OP. So
Everything's broken
Sounds
up here
good.
about mages.
yeah, like it specifically, I conjure it and then it exists, and just continues dealing damage over its duration.
Is it concentration?
No, I think its duration is 3 or 4 rounds.
Oh, okay.
Let me bring up the.
Be nice.
So it's 1 round a level, so it's 4 rounds, and it goes up with each level. But it's not concentration, and it moves 30 feet per round.
It can or it
including-
does?
Huh?
It can move or it does move.
Oh, it does move. Well, I guess it can move. Like,
They still damage anything. It doesn't have to move 30 feet, that's what I'm saying.
as part of its
Okay.
movement, it can ascend or jump. If it enters a space with a creature, stops moving for the round and deals 3d6 points of fire damage. Rolls over barriers, ignites flammable substances.
Nice.
Moves as long as I direct it, so I can direct it as a move action. Otherwise, it stays at rest and burns. So theoretically, I can push it at someone, and it stays on them, burning for 4 rounds. So 4 rounds of 3d6 fire damage.
That's pretty strong.
You should have seen the other ones, mate. I went with that one specifically because it has a duration and I can do other things. Like, I could cast 2 of them, like one and then another one the next turn, and I just couldn't move them both because it's a move action to direct them.
You could like block a passageway, put one either side of Dunstan or something.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
don't worry, I'll get a wall spell eventually. Wall of fire, wall of stone, wall of force.
Like, is it like wall of anything, or it has to be like a wall of fire spell?
No,
Like
there
a
are very
wall of
specific.
force spell.
Yeah, there's a wall of force spell. There's a wall of stone
Okay.
spell. They are specific because they have different effects.
I have a question.
Ask me your question.
I think that we said originally that for brevity, the people with pets, if you said like you want to roll perception and things, we wouldn't do the roll for each, right? We would just do one roll.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I've been doing.
Can
just
I take the
highest.
higher number of the 2 when I do that?
Providing
is-
the animal will be linked to you, yeah.
Yeah, that is what I've been doing.
Okay. It's just like I'm putting points in perception for the wolf, but I don't have it on Dunstan, so he's like the wolf is way more perceptive than me. So I'd like to use his stat when I'm noticing things.
Mhm.
I know
That should
sure
be
how
fine.
you would. Yeah.
Like, we'll either do it so you can like role play it, or if he's linked to you, then it doesn't matter too much.
Okay.
It's like, for argument's sake, he could be like perceptive, and you'd be like, "What is it, boy?
Yeah.
Did
is it,
Jimmy
boy?"
fall down the well again?"
Have the orcs invaded? Cool.
Okay, so yeah, another short lore-related session, but
Yeah, next week we'll do some
everything's up to
killing.
speed now.
Cut a bloody
Some
swathe
weird-
through these peaceful forests.
Just corpses in your wake.
I like that our plan is definitely to contact the elves and go and find the wolf
Wolfguard.
brothers, but but before we do that, we're gonna go kill these bandits.
Yeah. Make some money on the way.
We
so they can
will.
give us
We
more
are
money.
totally en route to save the world. But I tried to make us some money, and you were like, "Oh no, these signet rings, they're totally cool, bro. Thanks.
Because
No, give us
that's what
20,000
Dunstan
gold.
would've said. I agree with you, but that's what Dunstan would have said.
Give us 3
You would-
horses and a ship."
He would like to beg from them.
But theoretically, these signet rings would be really good for you.
That's true.
Yeah, I think so.
Although,
cool.
Like, not to get all Mabrin, but they could also easily lead us into a lot of traps. I'm not saying
Well, they could.
he was.
Yeah, you could
out
walk
to get
into.
us.
Yeah.
Like, he's given us the signet ring of a brotherhood that he knows to be infested with a secondary faction that he has so far done nothing to investigate. Shocking.
Well, it's a small part of the organization. It's pretty difficult to find the root of them.
As far as he knows, he could be part
As
of
far
it. They
as
could
he
all be
knows.
part of it.
They
Just
could.
saying.
You are so paranoid, man.
Why should I not be paranoid? I tackled a rugby ball earlier and lost 4 hit points.
There's actually
That
some
was
really cool.
hilarious because I rolled a d4 and I had 4. It's like, well, you landed on your nose.
Sorry, what were you saying, James? I cut you off.
I was just going to say, this, with the bluff and sense motive skills, there's some pretty cool skills within there. I don't know if you've read it. There's things like send hidden message, a secret message, like when you're talking. So you can like
Oh, really?
put code in, and then like sense motive is to like discern secret messages.
See,
And also with sense motive, you can sense enchantment, so you can like try to find out if someone's saying what they're saying because of an enchantment that's being cast on them.
oh, wow.
So rather than sensing the magic itself, you just sense that that person wouldn't really say that because they're dominated.
The problem
whatever.
is, like, I have pretty decent, like, well, relatively decent bluff, and
You're
like,
terrible at it.
I'm terrible at it. It's just every time I try and use it, it's like, oh yeah, you rolled a 1, so you got 6. It's not you rolled 14, so you get 19. It's like, no, you fucking could not be worse at this. You are a... Like, I have what, 20 charisma and +5 on bluff, and I'm like, yeah, I cannot convince people of anything.
It's quite hilarious to watch. I love it. I love it. From my point of view as a DM, it's like it's great and all. But from my point of view as like someone watching, I love the fact that he fumbled so much because it makes it so much more entertaining.
I like.
Like, did I tell you? Like, if
Barter
I ever
checks.
played as a character. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, you did. You said that last week that you'd be like an inept wizard.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to. Or like a ranger or a fighter who like has like really high charisma but really low strength. So they think they're good at it, but they're crap at it.
The thing is, like, Mavrin is genuinely super charismatic. Like, everybody thinks that when they meet him, and he just must, like, fumble over his words really badly or something.
Yep.
Puts things in the
My
worst
favorite.
possible way.
My
While still
favorite
being
Mabrin
magnetic.
incident was when you guys first started, and like Oliver fucked up his shot, and he was like, "This is how you do it," and you just hit yourself in the forehead. That is hands down my favorite part so far.
Pretty classic. Yeah, you hit yourself in the face with your sling.
That one set the tone for the entire game now.
It's not my fault. James tricks me into buying that by lying to me about the purchasing rules.
What? I told you what I was told.
Yeah.
And then Mark changed it after that. It's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault.
It is your fault.
Yeah, I know. But
Cool.
like you could always like subclass.
Nah. I think I would, if I did take levels in another class, I would completely fuck up my character by doing so. Okay, Mark.
You
Right.
took your familiar as the Viper. A +3 on bluff checks.
Yeah, you get some really cool things. One of them, the one that everybody takes and everybody says to take, is take the green sting scorpion, because then you get +1 initiative.
Wow, that's
So
good.
just like everybody's rolling around with these scorpion familiars because you get bonus initiative. That's the only reason. Hey, thanks, love. Yeah, but that's a bit too power gamey.
Yeah, like
And
these
I like,
kind of games, I don't like the min-maxing and like the character building, the role playing. I prefer the story. it's just so much more fun.
Yeah, and I like.
I do quite like min-maxing, to be honest.
I think also,
Personally,
like this specific system does strongly encourage min-maxing, because I think if you're not optimized, you can get into real problems with combat. Because the game like assumes you have certain amounts of equipment, you can do certain amounts of damage. Like if you get to facing creatures with damage reduction, for example, and you don't have, say you're like a monk or whatever, but you haven't taken the skill that makes your fists do magical damage, and you meet a creature with damage reduction that requires magical damage to bypass it. Hey, congratulations, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yep.
Just wail away with your non-magical fists and just get stepped on.
Yep.
But yeah.
so you can use to feint in combat, like fake death. So you can just like flop on the ground and hope things just leave you alone.
Or they could coup de grace you.
They could, but you know, you can try and convince someone that you've
It
just
will
died.
probably be Mabrin that does that.
Yeah, not by the enemies, by Mabrin.
Oh, my ally's fallen unconscious. Slit.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So that you can actually increase your bluff modifier if you possess convincing proof. So if you have convincing, it's not actual proof because obviously you're lying, but like if you possess convincing proof, you can increase your modifier by +10. That is weird.
Time to
That's
start
pretty cool,
producing
though.
It's kind of
documents
neat.
with my barrister.
And
Oh,
also you
shit.
No, the king totally sent us. Here's a writ.
that is nuts. So like you get a -20 modifier if the lie is impossible. So you're saying something which is impossible. You're trying to convince someone of that, but you only get -20.
I feel like that's how our conversation with the king about Darlath went. But
Essentially.
no, that's not possible. There's just no such thing.
No, the conversation was pretty one-sided anyway.
Hang on though.
There's so
So if
much
you
information on these skills.
If you can put together +20 to your bluff check, that means you can tell someone something which cannot be possible, and there's a good chance they'll believe you. Because you
+20.
offset the -20.
Theoretically, yeah.
So you could just say, no, mate, you are blind. You cannot see. And you could just bluff them into it.
Yes.
It's like, it's physically
I would
impossible.
love to
I can
see
see. No. What you're seeing is actually just a mental representation. Like, your eyes don't function. This is just making stuff up.
Yeah, you get -20, but if you had like really good skill, it's possible.
Look,
You
I've
could
got
convince
convincing
them.
proof in the form of this document, which you can't see.
It does say that.
Look, it looks like I'm not holding anything up. That's the proof.
It does say note that some lies are so improbable that it's impossible to convince anyone that they are true, subject to GM discretion.
Oh, God.
I can totally see Mark doing that and playing it in.
GM discretion.
I would love
Fuck
to.
up
It's so hilarious.
all of my fun.
It is so hilarious to convince someone they're blind.
Just see them like walk off with like putting their arms out in front of them. It's like
Look,
you can see.
especially now I've got this thing that can change my clothes. Look, normal people, like, their clothes don't just randomly change as you're watching them. But now I've told you that my clothes do that. That's what you're going to see. And then my clothes start randomly changing. Oh, weird.
Evil. I smite him and kill him.
You should. You really should. I'm waiting for the moment that happens.
Just need to stack up my bluff modifier. That's it. That's all my points are going into that now.
All mine are going into sense motive then, so I can tell every time. I'm going to shoot. That was fun. Thank you very much.
Cool.
It's a
Thanks.
nice council meeting, Mark. It's well written. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a shame because, like, I was hoping to have you guys do more today, not just sit there and listen to me ramble on. Like, I planned it. I was like, right, they're probably going to go to there and do this, and it'll probably take about an hour. Yeah, and then they'll have the rest of the time to do everything else. But like, by the time you actually got to the council meeting, 2 hours had passed. I was like, oh, well.
Yeah, we were experimenting a lot with the orb.
Yeah, that does
I
happen.
think we were hoping for me to be able to control it, like a Beyblade or something. Have it
Well-
bouncing about, slapping people in the face.
Well, I think you learnt more than you think you had.
Possibly. I got some theories, but it's difficult to test it.
Each step gets closer, I guess.
Yeah.
I
One
think
day I'll find
Dunstan's
out.
probably like the embodiment of the Lich Darlath now. Like his consciousness was erased the moment he touched that orb. And this is all just an elaborate ruse. That's why he keeps introducing himself as "Hi, I'm Dunstan, I'm a paladin." It's because he has to remind himself to stay in character.
That's
Have
clever.
you noticed he's the only one of the party who can detect evil, and he does it all of the time, as though to prove that he's not evil.
I think this is just paranoid Mabron talk.
Nah, I'm
Yeah.
not falling for it. You two are in league against me. I'm
Alright,
going to slit your
I'm gonna
throat.
shoot.
Yep.
Um,
Good night later, guys, and thanks for playing and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Hopefully
see
next
you,
week will be better.
Yeah, see you at the next one, guys.
Alright,
Bye.
cheers.
Oh, guys.
Bye bye.